Now, there is a Greek myth of the wandering Odysseus. It has him trying to navigate his ship between the monster Scylla and Charybdis, a vast whirlpool. Odysseus avoids the whirlpool. He saves the ship, but he loses several of the crew to the 9 heads of Scylla. Now, this is perhaps a neat parable for the Prime Minister Alexis Tsipras, steering between the demands of his creditors, which might destroy much of his credibility, even perhaps his party, and the disaster that might await the whole country if it sticks to its demands and is sucked out of the euro currency. Now, today, the markets actually took heart, thinking it would agree to the demands of Brussels and the IMF. The US Treasury Secretary, Jack Lew, he's urged them to agree. The European Central Bank held off disaster, agreeing to keep on emergency lending to Greek banks to keep them afloat, indeed. On Thursday, the Greek government will offer new proposals. And amongst all this, Greek businesses are living in really a vacuum. Nikos Nυφούδης owns 2 restaurants. He's also a political activist, and he's awaiting an election recount to see if he is elected to Parliament to represent the new centre-right party, Topatami. He came into the BBC to speak to our reporter, Philip Hampshire, who asked him how he thinks Syriza, the new governing party in Greece, is actually getting on.
For the first time, it seems that Syriza is asking things for Greece as well. So we'll do changes, we'll do reform. We know that we need to reform the state. Things that need to be done 2 years ago haven't been made. But on the other side, I'm sure that they need to convince the European Union. It's very logic that the European leaders need to be convinced that the money will be paid back.
But are Syriza doing the right thing?
Yeah, I think it's doing the right thing for the moment. As long as we are in euro and we are negotiating, they are doing it the right way.
So what happens if the European Union says, look, we've made you several offers here, we've got several deals on the table, you've rejected each of them, that's it, goodbye?
Yeah, that's the worst case scenario, and I hope at the end there will be a mix of policies. So we get some, they say that we keep like, there is internally, they say 70% of the old mnemonio and 30% of things that Syriza is asking for. We're just asking things and policies to fight unemployment and the country start producing again. So European Union need to face that. I think if they find the right policies and the right money to be spent for Greeks to fight unemployment, then the government would have an excuse to go back to the people and say, we gain those things, we need to do those things, and we'll do it.
But why should Greece get a better deal than some of the other countries that have already been through this process, like Portugal or Spain or Ireland?
It's like a really good opportunity for the European South, if you could say, to renegotiate in general. That's a big thing that Syriza need to understand. I'm not a part of Syriza, so I won't answer for them. So I've been saying that the situation must be European. So we have to see, for a good reason or a bad reason, what happened until recently was that the European South was developed a wrong way. That's the main problem for the Greek government as well, if you ask me. But whatever we will get, the Italians will ask, the Irish will ask, the Spanish will ask, the Portuguese will ask. I know that's something that the Greek government needs to have in mind. So yeah, whatever we gain need to be possible to be offered to the rest of the countries. That's something that everyone accepts.
So what would you personally like to see happen, say, if your party had won the election instead of Syriza?
I would like to see a government that is ready to reform the state. So we dream of a well-organized country with politicians that would respect themselves and the state. So I don't want to be in the position to read in my political theory books about bribing the Greek politicians as a case study. At the same time, though, I hope that the European Union will realize that you can't blame the people for that. You have to press the government to make the reforms and at the same time create a common European strategy against unemployment. That's the main thing. Having a job is not, it's a right, we say in Greece, if I translate it. It's not like something that you are trying to find. It's a right to have a job. And this is like respects people's life.